Indie Game Riot! Hey everybody, this is Josh, and I am here once again with Eric M. Hunter. Find him on Eric Hunter, at Eric Hunter on Twitter, or ericmhunter.net on the web.
All those things are true.
Yes. And we're back with episode 133. First, how's the past week been between this show and last show? How you been doing?
Full of gaming times.
Yeah? What have you been gaming?
Lots of
games.
games.
You say any AAA names, you're going to be executed live on stream.
We'll probably get like a takedown for that, don't you think?
Worth it.
Cool. Awesome. Kiwi 64.
Oh, that's the one that you've been Let's playing.
Yep.
Or you?
That's a
it
quick
was a one-off, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a quick 15 minutes. It was a game jam game. I can't remember the guy's name now. But basically, he was trying to make what essentially is a like a Banjo-Kazooie. I want to say inspired, but it's pretty much just a ripoff. But a ripoff in a good way. I don't mean that like in a bad way.
More like an homage.
Sure. Why not? So it's just a very cool kind of collect-a-thon. You go around talking to inanimate objects with giant eyeballs, fetching things for them. The music, the soundtrack's pretty killer. It's a very Banjo-Kazooie-esque feel to the soundtrack. So that's a fun one. Yeah, it's very banjo-y, like the instrument, not the bear.
Well, I mean, that's what they did in the whole thing, Banjo-Kazooie, and then they used banjos and kazoos in the...
Right, yeah. And Tootie was supposed to be like Piccolo, I think was what her name was supposed to be, and then they changed it.
Banjo and Piccolo-y.
But the cool thing about it is the developer got a super positive feedback on Kiwi 64, so he turned it around and made his own kind of Nintendo 64 3D third-person collector game called MacBat 64: The Journey of a Nice Champ, that you can find on Steam right now for $4.99.
Nice, $5.
So, I mean, if you like that goofy, over-characteristic, nonsensical collect-a-thon kind of game with just a bunch of dumb, goofy jokes and, fart jokes and stuff. It was definitely right up my alley.
Fart jokes. The only thing that would make it better is if they were dick jokes. And that's what we're all about here on Indie Game Riot.
So, we went how long? 2 minutes? 2 minutes without mentioning dicks? So...
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It's a new record.
Yeah.
It's a new record.
Next time we got to work for a minute and a half, I think.
There you go.
Today is actually my anniversary. 7 years married.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. 10 years together with 7 years married. So time goes by fast.
Yep.
Stating the obvious, I guess, but my God.
You just get caught up in everything, man.
I don't know. Every day I just feel myself withering away. Not because of the marriage, just because I'm getting old.
I'm old.
I'm getting so old.
Get off my lawn, you bastards.
Pooped myself.
Where's Alan Alda?
What?
Alan Alda?
Oh,
Mash.
Alan Alda. I thought you said Edna and something else, like old lady names, like as if they were your wife. Where's Edna? Whatever. I've had a stroke.
Grace, she died years ago.
Grace. Where's Rose? So yeah, that's pretty much the highlight of it.
That's good, man.
Other than that, it's just really working on. I've been still streaming, although I missed last night because this week is going to be a little rough because of scheduling. I think last night and maybe even Thursday, Friday as well, just because of schedules. It's kind of sucks, but I'll do what I can, working on some other stuff and other YouTube videos to hold over any live audiences. Well, anyway, you know what could really pick up this week here on Hump Day?
I have no idea. It's Wednesday, my dudes.
Yeah, it's almost over, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, that's true.
But
well, I mean, when you listen to this, it won't be Wednesday. So
exactly. A good pick-me-up would be an Indie News Injection.
Are you bored with the same old games?
Yeah.
Why, then give yourself an Indie News Injection.
Thanks, Indie Games.
This week on Indie News Injection, we don't have much news to inject. Kind of a slow week in news is for indie games. We touched on a little bit last week about the Steam review bombing with Firewatch ever since the whole PewDiePie thing. And I feel like there's not a whole lot more to go into it. To make you aware, Steam is apparently changing how Steam reviews work because of the review bombs. But that's not super direct into indie games at this point because it's not only Firewatch but like GTA 5 and stuff like that. So that's something interesting you guys can go check out. But what we're going to talk about today is the whole discovery process and how it's been affecting indie games, especially because we know Steam changed their algorithm, and they changed a lot of things not that long ago, how many months ago it's been, and it's supposed to make discovery of games more efficient. It helps good games not get buried and crappy shovelware, fall to the bottom and never to be seen and not make any money, that sort of thing. So, but I've been seeing reports and stuff like that from other devs who are established, saying that their games are still getting buried, and ever since the algorithm, the discovery of their game has significantly dropped. So I was wondering we kind of look at it from a point of view as a consumer. Do you feel like on Steam that you're seeing more interesting new games than you had previously?
I mean, to me, it's everything looks the same. Do you know what I mean? Like, if they've made a switch or a change in something, I haven't seen it. Like, I still see the same games that are the most popular. Like, I'm constantly seeing PUBG come up, and games like Don't Starve and Terraria and stuff like that. So I have seen more of like, oh, your friends are playing XYZ, which is, that to me makes more sense, because it's like, especially if it's a multiplayer game, it's like, of course I want to play games with that my friends are playing. Oh, this game looks neat. Hold on. Be right back. There's also the I think at least that they are relying more heavily on the tags that each game has.
Yeah, probably with featured and recommended, because it's supposed to be all tailored to each individual. That was like the big change, because it used to be like, here's the top new sellers, things that had just come out. And I personally like that, but that's because I come from a point of view where I'm looking for new things,
right?
That are like newly released for Indie Game Riot. But I guess for the general consumer, it doesn't matter how old it is. You just want to find something good, and maybe you happen to pass something up. Because like, if I look at featured right now, there are some new stuff, such as where is it? Well, maybe it's not new because I just never heard of it before. But Absolver, for instance, is pretty new, and it's there. On the other hand, State of Decay comes up for me.
Okay.
Which is old. Several years old at this point, I think. Things like that. And then there's a lot of stuff that I don't actually know how old it is, and it does do a good job of bringing things to the forefront that maybe I just had looked over. Like, I've never heard of, what is this? Reassembly, Minion Masters, that sort of thing. Automega. So
no idea what any of that is.
And exactly, I've never heard of it, but maybe it's good. Kingdoms and Castles, I think, is fairly new. That popped up for me. The other thing that's really pulling from too, and that they've seemed to really want to focus on for Steam, is the curators. Which, by the way, we are a curator page. You feel free to follow us. We actually have. Where are we at now? I have to go look. But the curators heavily influence what come up in your featured and recommended. I get a lot of stuff from a lot of the other places like IGN, Total Biscuit. I get stuff from, and then
Sure.
There's stuff that's recommended by, like, that Minion Masters came up apparently because it was recommended by one of my Steam friends. So it seems like they're just keeping away from the whole. I mean, it is what they're doing. They're keeping away from maybe stuff that's not necessarily that is new, and just trying to give you stuff that you would buy. So it's a business standpoint that is actually smart, but it sucks if you're if you have a new game coming out that doesn't have a lot of publicity around it, because then Steam's just like, well, we don't care. That's what it seems like.
I think, and this is going to come off. This isn't going to come off very well, but I think Steam gives us too much information. I think because just looking at so here's a what is it, Kuro Blaster, however you say that.
Okay.
Which is the same. It's Pixel, isn't it? Who did what else did he do? What was the big game that he did?
Pixel?
Yeah.
Cave Story?
Cave Story. Great game. So it's like, okay, is this game relative to you? Similar to games you've played. So I've got Super Win the Game and Super Meat Boy. Okay. User reviews very positive. I have 3 friends who already own this game. If you keep scrolling down, you get a Metacritic score. You get awards. It's like, part of me feels like it may be better off, and Steam may get less. Well, that's probably not true, but I'm going to say it anyway. Steam may get less shit for how their algorithm works if they gave the end user less information. Mm-hmm. Like if it just showed up.
I appreciate the transparency personally.
Oh, sure. That's what I'm saying. It's going to sound terrible.
And Steam, people gave Steam shit. They gave Valve shit for lack of communication. So, can you really blame them for like, hey, all right, here's more information then. More communication.
Right.
Another thing that they have been pushing a lot is that discovery queue.
Right.
So I think that was like their solution to taking away the featured new releases. Is that to make you and they try and incentivize you to go through your discovery queue, especially during Steam sales. But I personally, that's the only time I ever go through that is during Steam sales.
Right.
So I don't know how well they're actually. I feel like, not only is it like a task to go through your discovery queue, but they don't really make it. It's not very apparent on the front page. Like you have to scroll down to it, and it's like you get featured recommended, special offers, trending among friends, and then you get to your discovery queue. And it's kind of like this little sliver too that's easy to pass by.
Right. Well, and it's, how in depth do you want this thing to be? Do you know what I mean? Like, so okay, here's a perfect example. So I'm looking at a game. It's called Divinity: Original Sin 2. It tells itself as it's an RPG that's kind of like pen and paper, Diablo style,
I've heard Divinity Sin 2 was more like, I actually have the first one, but I never really played it. People love this game, by the way. It's very popular. But Divinity Sin 2 is like fantasy XCOM almost.
Right.
Which is a different genre from Diablo.
Okay. Yeah, this looks more like an action RPG.
That's what I thought.
So anyway, perfect example. So I've got 3 buttons here. I've got add to my wish list, follow, or not interested. And I can guarantee that if I click not interested, it's not going to ask me why.
No, it doesn't.
So right there, to me, this discovery queue is failed.
That would be nice for. I feel like that would be good feedback for not only Steam but also the developers.
Right.
Like, hey, this is why I'm not interested in it. It's just good marketing feedback.
But how deep do you want this thing to go? Do you know what I mean? Like, do you want to ask 50 questions about every game that you're not interested in?
Right.
Because it could be something is why aren't you interested in this game? Well, shit, man, it's $45. Like, that's really expensive. Yeah. So if you wanted to do, but nobody's going to do that with every single game that goes through. Like, for something like that to actually work, like you need people who are going to be invested in the algorithm and help the algorithm move along. But I would think that a general common or plebe, if you will, person is is not going to do that. They're just going to be like, oh, this is horse shit. Let me go back and play more SOCOM or something. Like they're not going to give it the time and effort. They're just going to look at it and say, this is broken.
I feel like the options are could be changed because between not interested, sure, follow and wish list. Wish list feels more committed to me. Like
right.
If I put it on my wish list, like I'm going to buy that someday. Even though I have a shit ton of games on my wish list that I have not bought for years. But anyway, that's what it feels like. So it's like, well, do I really want that? Like, I'm only kind of interested. I don't really want to wish list it necessarily because I don't know yet. Whereas follow, they don't make the follow. Like, you can follow it, but they don't, like, update. That basically means that you're getting updates about the game.
Where?
Where they might announce stuff about it. And sometimes you'll get, like, notifications pop up from Steam on your desktop.
No, see, I need like emails or something.
But
like I'm not.
They don't like. In order to like go and search out that stuff, you have to like. It's like it's kind of annoying. Like you have to go to where I don't even remember where I had to go to do that. Was that in?
See, that's the other problem too, because it's like there's a bunch of like Steam Direct games or Greenlight games or whatever the hell you want to call them now.
Right.
That were like, oh, if you would be interested in buying this game, click here, and you'll be updated with new update, or you'll be known when new updates come out. I've probably done that for like 20 different games. I have yet to been updated on any of them, and by now I don't even know where they're at. So I've completely forgotten which games they are. They've probably already been released and done. Do you know what I mean?
And follow, like, not only does follow, like, makes you follow them forever too. It's not like once you buy it you stop following them. I constantly get updated on games that I'm just too lazy to go in and unfollow.
Right.
So in order to get to followed, there might be a different way to do this, but I had to like figure it out. I had to go over to the store tab, hover down to the drop down menu, click on wish list, and then when you're on wish list, there's different tabs. Recently played, all games, followed, wish list, and reviews. So that's where followed is. Apparently, I don't even know who I'm following. A lot of the shit I'm following, I don't even want to buy. It was because I followed them with the thought like, well, maybe as this gets developed, we'll talk about it at some point on the show.
Sure.
And the vast majority of these we did not. Like Aurora RL, Ballroom, Bastard Bonds.
What?
Yeah. I don't remember why I followed these games, but they were at some point in I think they were like early access or something. And I just was like, well, maybe I'll get updates. And it never worked out like that. That's right. I think that's the most broken part about the discovery system to me is the followed thing.
I think it's like anything. Like, how long has Steam been around?
Oh, God.
2004?
I mean, it was originally for only Valve games.
Right.
So, I mean, it was like whenever Half-Life 2 came out? Something like that. And it was early 2000s, I'm pretty sure. Early to mid 2000s.
I just feel like there's a lot more that can be done.
Yeah.
Like I think the UI is shit.
Like
at the end of the day.
I get that they make a lot of money from like GTA 5 or games like that.
Sure.
The big games, but the vast majority of their library are these small devs, right?
Right.
So you start taking away from them, and I feel like that hurts you. And not only that, okay, so maybe a lot of, the majority of them aren't going to make a whole ton of money by themselves individually, but collectively they do. Plus, you might end up going over a game that might be the next Minecraft or something. Who knows?
Sure.
Right? And
no, I agree.
Out on a shit ton of money, and that person is, their dreams are crushed potentially. Although if they're crushed that easily, you shouldn't be in this business probably.
Right. But, well, true. I feel like I just don't think. I think Steam is the wrong company to do it. I think you need an outside resource.
We need an Indie Game Riot.
Oh yeah,
store. That's what we need. We'll do that way. Anyway, any last thoughts on Steam Discovery?
Steam sucks. Steam's the worst.
But we have
don't.
That's not true.
Don't saddle yourself to one platform.
Actually, I will say that our game that we're talking about for starting the Riot, Tooth and Tail, is available on itch.io if you're looking at a different platform. And we haven't just put this out there. We have an itch.io affiliate link on our website, which you can click on and then go buy it, which supports everyone involved.
Oh, yeah.
So you should go do that. Speaking of that game, let's start a riot. This week on Starting the Riot, we are talking about Tooth and Tail by Pocket Watch Games. So Tooth and Tail is an interesting take on a specific genre, specifically the real-time strategy genre. It's like very simplified, and it's kind of like how Age of Empires was, but extremely simplified and more linear, from what I played so far. It's, first of all, you're playing as these animals who are in different factions, and whoever is like the top shit faction, you get to eat the other animals. Like, the other animals are up for food consumption, because apparently that's how food works in this universe.
There you go.
Is that you eat the plebes. Plebes is the word of the day.
Man, it's gotta be.
So, like, you're seeing in the tutorial right now, you build various buildings around your base, and they produce different units. So right now you're seeing like these little ground units that shoot essentially machine guns, and then there's like more artillery units that shoot those like lobbed cannons on the back of those. What is that, badger or weasel?
And like badgers, yeah.
You take out, you go through the map, and it's a very small self-contained map. It's not like as big as a lot of the other RTSs that you know of. And you destroy those buildings, you complete the objective, and it's all centered around your mouse. Like, you're the lead guy, that's who you control, and then you click to either advance or retreat your troops. And then as you lose troops, the buildings that you have back at your base will periodically send them based on cooldowns to replenish your troops. There's other maps where you actually have to defend your base and stuff like that. And then in between missions, you're seeing it on screen now, is you go back to this bar, which is like basically your faction's headquarters, and you talk to people. People have missions for you, and as you complete missions, you unlock more parts of your headquarters and more story. And I would assume, because I believe the blue faction is the tutorial, I think I'm not sure how long the tutorial is because I actually completed it, but there are several missions. Probably once you complete that tutorial with the blue faction, you can go through and select any faction you want. There might be a story for each one. Or you can play multiplayer. There's also multiplayer on this. Good times. What do you think?
Online competitive, split screen. I like everything that you're saying.
I agree. Yes, sir, 100%.
I like the look of it. This reminds me of...
I like the cut of its jib.
The good old days of Warcraft 2.
Was Warcraft 2 as small as this? Like, as far as the maps go?
No. There were bigger maps. This is more like... So Warcraft 3 introduced kind of like the hero-esque that basically ended up becoming Dota.
Uh-huh.
Where like you had one particular hero and then the rest of your faction followed behind you, where Warcraft 2 was very much kind of like Age of... Oh yeah, let's update the newest Windows features right the F now. Fucking Windows.
They're having to be last.
Where Warcraft 2 was mainly build an army and then send them into their death kind of a thing, which was super fun. But no, I mean, this looks great. This looks like... very contained. It's very fast-paced looking. The artwork is great.
Oh yeah, the art is beautiful. By the way, and speaking of the maps, it does appear that, because again, I didn't get a chance to play like a whole lot of it, just enough to get a feel. It looks like it does expand on that more, maybe to like size of Age of Empires, but again, it seems more simplified, like and contained. Like you can only build in specific areas that you own, from what I've seen.
Right.
Also, I'd like to point out that Tooth and Tail is actually made. Pocket Watch Games also made Monaco, which, if you don't know what that is, it's a pretty popular game. But if you don't know what it is, it's a co-op game where you heist.
Yeah, you're
basically.
stealing shit from stuff.
And
Yeah.
you plan it out. It's kind of like a pixelated version of the GTA 5 heists, almost, is what it seems
Right.
like. For those of you interested in Tooth and Tail, again, I did say it was on itch.io, so you're more than welcome and, in fact, encouraged to go through our itch.io link and buy it that way. But if you want to get it on Steam, it is for $19.99 Windows, Mac, and Linux. And you can actually buy that Monaco in a bundle.
Yeah, I just saw that.
With Tooth and Tail. And, of course, the soundtrack as well for $5.
Boom.
So, Tooth and Tail. It's actually a pretty simple game. I'm trying to think of what else to, if I'm missing anything that I played that I wanted to touch on.
Yeah, I mean, if you're into like an RTS that's super controlled and
it is online, by the way, which I appreciate. There's like I like couch co-op games, but the problem is that most of us don't have people over to play couch co-op. And maybe it's just me, and I don't have friends that come over anymore.
It comes up like every episode.
Yeah, it's a reoccurring theme that I don't have friends.
Join the club.
No, I think that's just being an adult, to be honest.
Oh yeah, that's all it is, man.
No one has friends as an adult. It's interesting too that there's like a season system in this too. I don't know if that goes along with the story, but it's just I'm kind of like looking through and seeing if there's anything I didn't get from how much I've played. To expand on that meat thing, by the way, because that seemed kind of strange to put out there. Their explanation: the war for meat, the long coats, the common folk, the KSR, and the civilized, which are the four factions in this game, are in the midst of a civil war over who gets to eat and who has to be the meat. And that's the whole point. So meat is like apparently the only thing that anyone eats in this game.
Makes sense.
So it's either eat or be eaten, hence the war. So if you win, you get to eat the losers. Darkly humorous tale of riots and revolution. You know what this reminds me of? What is that game or that book series? That what is it? R.A. Salvatore? No, that's the guy who does Forgotten Realms. What is that? What is that book series? Someone's got to know what I'm talking about. Go ahead and comment below in the YouTube sections if you're watching.
I mean, you're talking about Animal Farm or
no, not Animal Farm.
Oh, it's like it's the only book I can remember about animals eating other animals, and
that's a fucked up book though.
That's a great book.
No, it's like a fantasy series, but it has to do with like mice and like animals like that. Like
oh man,
I
have no idea.
Anyway, that's Tooth and Tail by Pocket Watch Games. $20 on Steam, but go buy it through itch.io, preferably through our thing. And you know what time it is?
Peep show.
Secret of Nim. Holly says no. Although that's not a bad comparison either, but that's not what I'm talking about.
It's Peep Show, Josh.
Yeah, God, it's Peep Show.
Please give all your attention to Early Access.
This week on Peep Show, we're talking about a game called Cultist Simulator, which is made by one of the people who are from Fail Better Games, who created Fallen London and Sunless Sea. The guy's name is Alexis Kennedy. Cultist Simulator is a kind of it's a narrative heavy card game, I would want to say.
Man,
it's kind of an interesting take on the genre. But basically you are a game. Let me give you their description. A game of apocalypse and yearning. That's the wrong description I'm looking at. Hold on. There we go. Cultist Simulator is a narrative game and lets you play a seeker after unholy mysteries in a 1920s themed setting of hidden gods and secret histories. You said histories. Wait, I'm so confused. I can't read for shit.
I don't know
Anyway,
what you're doing.
you're looking for knowledge, power, beauty, revenge. But anyway, you're looking for these unholy relics. And again, with Fail Better, and they are always very narrative heavy. So it's if you've ever played Fallen London, it kind of gives you this choose your own adventure vibe. And it feels like this is kind of like that, but with cards. It's kind of like you're building this story with these cards. I think there's another game that uses cards as like a story builder, but I can't think of what it is. I can't think of anything today.
I have no idea. This is all new to me.
Anyway, they're looking for on Kickstarter 40,000. This is in U.S. That's why it's kind of an odd number. $40,564. But they have already risen above that with $91,056. However, there are 10 days ago at the time of this recording, so you can still get in on it and help them reach their stretch goals. Let me go down to the stretch goals. Well, actually, first let me check out their budget so I can give that information. Can't find anything.
Stretch goals.
There you go. They're currently at. Oh, they're being. I will make my girlfriend an especially nice cup of tea.
They hit that one.
I will purchase a gelatinous worm god for my daughter. Around 1890, in the third history, the crown of growth could be perceived through the white door. Don't know what the fuck that means. These are very vague, and I don't know. Oh no, they posted pictures actually. For
they did. Wow, yeah.
For the stretch goals, yeah. At least a couple of them. They show a picture of him, of his wife giving a thumbs up with a cup of tea, and a giant gummy worm for the daughter.
See, they put milk in the tea.
I put milk in my tea.
That's a British thing.
I put milk in my tea.
I know. I like my tea like I like my metal. Black.
Okay. Never mind.
All right.
Do British put milk in their tea? I thought British were like hardcore black tea drinkers.
No, I think that's a British thing.
Oh. Well, I'm not British.
I'm not either. So all of my knowledge from about British tea drinking comes from Hollywood. So.
It actually does depend on the tea. Asian teas,
you could say that about coffee too.
Asian teas, I don't put milk in. Herbal teas, I generally do. Anyway. They've reached. They're over 90,000, so they've actually reached. I'll make it available out of print. I'll make available an out of print short story that he published in 2012 called "Stories of the Smoke." So he's going to re-release a short story at 90,000. So this is kind of interesting. I don't know how you feel about these stretch goals that it doesn't really expand on the game. It's just like additional stuff for people to get.
Yeah. I mean, so he's got a little response above. It says, any funding over the target will make the game better. Spoken to current backers, and the response has been overwhelming. We've backed the project, not the possibility of stretch goals. We want the best game possible. Don't do anything that might imperil the project, which is probably why he's just doing these nonsensical stretch goals.
So they don't want him to like go crazy with the scope.
Oh, it's going to have online play, and we're going to have 12 more characters. It's like, no, make the game you want to make, and then take the money that we give you and make those things that you want to do with it even better.
Yeah.
But don't tell us that you're going to give us something more, or you're going to add this instead. Just make the game that is meant to be made.
That's good.
Which I kind of applaud, because I think, see, that stuff is kind of hard to do. Unless if you didn't already have a dedicated fan base. This guy's already known to bringing out super legit games. Fallen London is a game I really enjoyed until I got kind of stuck in a point. I felt like I was in a loop, so I just cut it. Sunless.
It definitely does help to have that reputation of legitimacy.
Yeah.
Because so many people get burned with Kickstarter, so I feel like on most Kickstarters, it's probably not a good idea to go saying I'm going to spend your extra money on tea.
Right.
Just saying. As for the tiers of backing it, it starts at, this is in pounds, British pounds. I almost said euros. It's in British pounds, so $10, which equals about $13 US. You get a perpetual edition copy of the game, which means that you get any and all DLC for free, forever. So you get that for the lowest tier, all the way up to 5,000 pounds, which equals about $6,456. You get to choose any piece of game art to be tattooed on the developer's skin.
Jesus.
Which he apparently did as part of Sunless Sea's stretch goal when they were kickstarting that.
Gotcha.
The condition is that it has to be a Cultist Simulator art or quote, and the girlfriend gets to veto anything that's too ridiculous.
Makes sense. That's funny. I get that.
If you can't agree, then he'll refund it.
Gotcha.
So with that, you get everything. You get to tattoo him with something from the game. You get to create a unique artifact in the game, an unusual thing, whatever that may mean, an answer, a word. Maybe that's some Fallen London rewards.
Could be.
Possibly, because that's what. Don't they have that in Fallen London?
Yeah.
Your name in the game. You get a digital notebook incarnated in physical form. The perpetual edition of the Cultist Simulator, and possibly a scrap of the developer's soul.
It's very important.
Possibly. If you enjoy tasty soul, that's for you.
No, I think all of this just fits right into what he is in terms of like the games he's released and the lore that he's created. So I think this is perfect. Like, I don't think you could do this any better.
And everything's always so Lovecraft-esque. With them, with Failbetter and this guy.
Indie Game Riot!
Hey everybody, this is Josh, and I am here once again with Eric M. Hunter. Find him on Eric Hunter, at Eric Hunter on Twitter, or ericmhunter.net on the web.
All those things are true.
Yes. And we're back with episode 133. First, how's the past week been between this show and the last show? How you been doing?
Full of gaming times.
Yeah? What have you been gaming?
Lots of
you
games.
say any AAA names, you're going to be executed live on stream.
We'll probably get like a takedown for that, don't you think?
Worth it.
Cool. Awesome. Kiwi 64.
Oh, that's the one that you've been Let's playing.
Yep.
Or you?
That's a
it was
quick
a one-off, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a quick 15 minutes. It was a game jam game. I can't remember the guy's name now. But basically, he was trying to make what essentially is a like a Banjo-Kazooie. I want to say inspired, but it's pretty much just a ripoff. But a ripoff in a good way. I don't mean that like in a bad way.
More like an homage.
Sure. Why not? So it's just a very cool kind of collect-a-thon. You go around talking to inanimate objects with giant eyeballs, fetching things for them. The soundtrack's pretty killer. It's a very Banjo-Kazooie-esque feel to the soundtrack. So that's a fun one. Yeah, it's very banjo-y, like the instrument, not the bear.
Well, I mean, that's what they did in the whole thing, Banjo-Kazooie, and then they used banjos and kazoos in the...
Right, yeah. And Tootie was supposed to be like Piccolo, I think was what her name was supposed to be, and then they changed it.
Banjo and Piccolo-y.
But the cool thing about it is the developer got a super positive feedback on Kiwi 64, so he turned it around and made his own kind of Nintendo 64 3D third-person collector game called MacBat 64, The Journey of a Nice Champ, that you can find on Steam right now for $4.99.
Nice, $5.
So, I mean, if you like that goofy, over-characteristic, nonsensical collect-a-thon kind of game with just a bunch of dumb, goofy jokes and, fart jokes and stuff. It was definitely right up my alley.
Fart jokes. The only thing that would make it better is if there were dick jokes. And that's what we're all about here on Indie Game Riot.
So we went how long? 2 minutes? 2 minutes without mentioning dicks? So
yeah, that's pretty good.
It's a new record.
Yeah.
It's a new record.
Next time we got to work for a minute and a half, I think.
There you go.
Today is actually my anniversary. 7 years married.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. 10 years together with 7 years married. So time goes by fast.
Yep.
Stating the obvious, I guess, but my God.
You just get caught up in everything, man.
I don't know. Every day I just feel myself withering away. Not because of the marriage, just because I'm getting old.
I'm old.
I'm getting so old.
Get off my lawn, you bastards.
Pooped myself.
Where's Alan Alda?
What?
Alan Alda?
Oh,
Mash?
Alan Alda. I thought you said Edna and something else, like old lady names, like as if they were your wife. Where's Edna and whatever? I've had a stroke.
Grace, she died years ago.
Grace. Where's Rose? So yeah, that's pretty much the highlight of it.
That's good, man.
Other than that, it's just really working on. I've been still streaming, although I missed last night because this week is going to be a little rough because of scheduling. I think last night and maybe even Thursday, Friday as well, just because of schedules. It's kind of sucks, but I'll do what I can, working on some other stuff and other YouTube videos to hold over any live audiences. Well, anyway, you know what could really pick up this week here on Hump Day?
I have no idea. It's Wednesday, my dudes.
Yeah, it's almost over, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, that's true.
But
well, I mean, when you listen to this, it won't be Wednesday. So
exactly, a good pick me up would be an indie news injection.
Are you bored with the same old games?
Yeah.
Why, then give yourself an indie news and...
Fans. Interim, is that how you say it? Interim?
Eternium is how I pronounce it.
Eternium. I'm terrible when it comes to words, as you know.
Yeah.
Is an amazingly fun and beautifully crafted action RPG reminiscent of the great classics Diablo and Torchlight. Man, is Torchlight that old? Is it considered a classic?
Torchlight is probably up for like a classic indie game title, I would say.
Wow, that's amazing.
Still want to do that in Indie Game Hall of Fame, by the way. I gotta think about how to do that. Anyway, go ahead.
Let's see. It stands out from other mobile RPGs like Dungeon Hunter and Soulcraft by its effortless tap to move and innovative swipe to cast controls with its player-friendly no paywalls, never pay to win philosophy. With the exception of a couple of online-only features, the game can be played offline after the content download completes. Drawing signs to cast spells is easy and rewarding. Tap to move control is natural and relaxing than thumbsticks. And it's also truer to the vantage point.
The thumbsticks is probably the worst thing.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Oh, yeah. When it comes to the digital thumbsticks,
yeah,
it's the worst. So stupid. Why would you even do that to your game?
Where else would you do it?
You think of a better way to control your game. It's as simple as that. Like,
you know what,
stop conforming to the norms.
Someone's going to steal this idea if it's not a thing, but is there a thing where you can like plug a controller into your phone?
You can Bluetooth any Bluetooth controller to a phone.
There you go.
So they've actually 8-bit Duo.
I mean, I guess it's not. They're not. Most people probably don't have a controller that can do that. I don't think.
So here's the cool thing about. I want to say it's 8-bit Duo. 8-bit Duo. I don't know what the name of it.
Especially if you're not at your house. Like who cares?
Right. So they make. They just released a Bluetooth controller. For pretty much anything, but it's designed for mobile. So the way it works is it comes off, it looks like just like a regular kind of flat, kind of think of like an old school NES controller, but with dual thumbsticks and shoulder buttons. Right. And it comes with a case over the top of it, so you don't get the button sticky or anything like that. If you take the case off, it doubles as a stand that you can slat your phone into. So you could like play it, like you could slat your phone, put it on your lap, and then hold the controller and play. So there's companies that are more than ever that I've noticed that are working on how do we design a controller that works for mobile gaming that is also convenient and efficient for playing. And mobile, yeah. Last bit, the game can be played for free, as more than 90% of our players do. The best things in the game are obtained by playing, not paying.
Hot damn! And that's I know you need to make money as a developer.
Sure.
I understand that. But there is the right and wrong way to do it. I mean, I'm even okay with ads as long as it's tastefully done. You know?
Yeah, and it's not like every 30 seconds it's slapping you in the face with them.
Or you're placing them in a place where like you click a button that you're going to be clicking all the time, and then there's like a link to an ad like right near it that you're
those are the
probably
worst.
gonna accidentally click. Another way you can support them, by the way, they do have merch, which, I mean, if you really like this game, definitely encourage you to support in any way you can, because, I mean, merch is a way to not interrupt your game and yet still support them. But yeah, hack and slash, loot, level up, Diablo-esque, top-down action RPG, good stuff on a phone, plays well, mostly controllers minus the thumbsticks, but, I mean, what can you do? There are some digital controls, by the way, that are programmed well and placed well. It's just...
They're few and far between.
Yeah, so, I mean, but, again, if you don't want it on mobile, it is on Windows. You can play it that way.
There you go.
You know what else you can play?
Man, you lost me on that one.
The theme for our outro, which actually, I'm not playing the theme anymore, but until we get to the title card at the splash page card thing at the end of the video that YouTube wants. Anyway.
Like, what are you going on about, man?
I don't, man, my mind is always just... I think my brain is either behind or ahead of my mouth the majority of the time. So I say things and I'm like, there was a reason, but I don't know why.
Gotcha.
Anyway, it is the end of the show.
I believe you.
It is the end of the show, and I hope you all have enjoyed going on this journey with us tonight. If you did enjoy the journey and you want to help us make this show better, you want to help us bring more light upon the indie games buried in Steam's terrible algorithms, please consider going to patreon.com/Indie Game Riot and supporting us on a monthly basis. $5 is always great because all you have to do is sacrifice one coffee a month that you might get from Starbucks. If you don't buy coffee, then you can think of some other $5 thing that you get in the month, and just one day's worth that you're sacrificing for every month for Indie Game Riot to make us better.
There you go.
Appreciate it. You can also contact us in many different ways, including Twitter at IGR Podcast and Facebook.com/IGR Podcast. And, of course, email contact@IndieGameRiot.com. Any last words, Sir Eric?
So it's 8-Bit Do is the name of the company that makes those Bluetooth controllers.
Oh.
8-Bit Do. They have a phone clip you can put on it. So like you clip your phone to the controller.
Get a hold of them. They can sponsor.
Tell you what, man. They got a cool dual stick SNES controller that looks pretty badass. Might buy it.
Go contact them. Buy one. Contact them and let them know. Hey, sponsor Indie Game Riot.
Should I call them bitches before or afterwards?
After, so that way you can sound like Jesse from Breaking Bad.
Boom. I don't know what any of that means, but I believe you.
You've never watched Breaking Bad?
Man, do we have to have this conversation?
I'm going to punch you in the goddamn throat.
Jeez. Okay, bye-bye then.
Yeah, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Toodles.